Let's build this easy creeper farm that makes over 1,000 gunpowder every hour and works for both Minecraft Java and Bedrock Edition. This design is easily expandable, allowing you to add more levels or more farms adjacent to the original. Here's a list of materials that you'll need to build the roof, 6 mob spawning platforms, and the item collection system. At the end of the video, I'll share some extra tips to make this more convenient and that can actually increase gunpowder production by up to 3 times. It's most efficient when built over the ocean, unless you have a bedrock perimeter for some reason. So, for most of us, let's take our materials and sail over to an ocean. Once there, on Java, we'll begin the build on the same block as the water level, so Y level 63, and on Bedrock we'll start the build 128 blocks above the surface of the water at Y level 192. The reason that we're starting the build on 2 different levels is because in Java Edition, mobs attempt to spawn into the world from the bottom up, and on Bedrock Edition, mobs attempt to spawn into the world from top down. Anyways, once you're at the respective height for your version, build a small 2x3 platform. This will be for our collection area, and then we'll place 2 chests down in the middle, jump up, place 2 hoppers going into the chests, and 2 more hoppers going into those. Place a temporary block down, and then place some blocks just off the sides, so that it goes right around the edges of the hoppers. Place another temporary block just right here, just so we can get on the other side, and finish it right around and break those. This will end up being the drop chute for our mobs. Now from here, let's build this drop chute up 17 blocks. I personally found it a lot easier to build up all of these sides of the wall at the same time, but if you wanted to, you could build up 17 blocks for every pillar and just keep on dropping down to do the next pillar. That'll bring us up to Y83 on Java and Y212 for Bedrock. Choose 1 block out of the 2x2 area there, and we're going to use that as the center block for our whole farm going forward. Doesn't really matter which one it is, but from that block that you choose, go 7 blocks in each direction. After that, begin to fill in the square shape we've created, but make sure to leave a 2x2 cutout at each corner, so that once we fill it up with water, it doesn't become one giant lake. You can also see that I've begun to add a wall that's 1 block higher and diagonally off of our platform that will contain our water sources and direct the flow into the center. Continue to place down the floor and the walls until you have a completed perimeter that once finished resembles a 9x9 with 2 diagonal blocks connecting in each corner. Come back over to your drop chute here and place down 2 temporary blocks and place your 4 gates off of those and open those up. That'll prevent the water from spilling down into our drop chute. Now take out your 2 water sources and consecutively place them every other block so that you're creating new infinite sources behind it, and you can pick up and continue on from that point. You'll want to make sure that your water sources are only touching the outmost blocks, stretching across the 9 wide section on all 4 sides. By jumping in and taking a ride, you can very easily determine whether you messed it up or not. Turn around and take out your slabs. We're going to add slabs on top of all of the solid blocks that don't have water on them. That'll prevent any unwanted mobs from spawning around the rim here. Like that. What do you have to say for yourself? That's what I thought. Live in the ocean though. Disgusting. I spit on you. Once you're done with that, come on over to what you designated as the center before and place blocks like so that we can get 4 blocks taller in the air. From here, we're going to begin our first spawning platform. Place 5 blocks in each direction off the central block, and be sure to remove the blocks used to jump up, as they can cause problems for the creeper collection system later on. Begin to fill in the platform, but leaving the same 2x2 notches out on each corner. I just wanted to quickly mention that now is the best time to make sure that your platform is aligned. So just take a peek over the edge of all of the sides of your spawning platform and make sure that there are 2 blocks in between where they're going to be falling off and the start of the water source. And we can begin to put in our anti-spider measures. If we place 4 trapdoors like so, and carpets placed in this orientation on Java, spiders will no longer be able to spawn on the platforms. And as you may have noticed, we did add 1 more block in to those notches, just to kind of round out the circle. On Bedrock, your carpet should look like this, as they need to be more densely packed as spider spawning mechanics are slightly different. If you're finding it difficult to get all the wool required for the carpets, you should check out my fully automatic wool farm up in the top right corner. Anyway, let's finish up this layer. Come to the center here, pillar up 3, and go 5 off in each direction. This is not only the roof for this first spawning layer, but it's also the floor for the second. And it should be very simple to do, as it's just mimicked exactly what's underneath your feet. So if you're ever unsure whether a block needs to go above you or not, just take a peek at what's underneath you. Now we'll head back over to the center here. We'll place a block in the center so that no mobs can push around the cat. And then we'll place trapdoors over top of any solid block. Keep in mind that we don't need trapdoors above other trapdoors or above carpets or buttons. And that's because there's no mobs that can spawn on top of the carpets anyway, so there's no point in doubling up and also putting a trapdoor above. The reason for adding all of these trapdoors above the solid blocks is that creepers are slightly shorter than zombies and skeletons, so they're still able to spawn, whereas the spawns for both the other creatures are blocked now. So now in tandem with the carpets on the floor and the trapdoors on the ceiling, only creepers can spawn in this area. Once you're done placing trapdoors on the ceiling of all of the solid blocks, come over to one of the sides here. We're going to be adding trapdoors all along the long edges of the spawning platform. And that'll be the first part of adding pathfindable blocks that the creeper think that they can run over. Once you have those trapdoors on all of the long edges, come over to one of those sides and place a temporary block off of the center of one of those trapdoors, and then place a line of 7 building blocks lining up with the opposite side. Then place more trapdoors off of the side of that block. That'll allow the creepers to think that they can walk over the trapdoors and escape onto these far blocks that we've just placed over here. Then, as you can see on screen, we'll want to mob-proof that entire side, so we'll place carpets on all 7 of those far blocks, and repeat those steps onto all 4 sides. Once you've completed that, it's a good idea to give your first spawning level a good once-over and make sure that there's no mistakes, as it can be quite easy to accidentally miss a trapdoor on the ceiling or miss a carpet on the floor. Place down a torch where our cat will sit, just so that no mobs spawn while we're trying to build the rest of the farm. And then take out some temporary blocks and block jump on the side of this trapdoor just to get up to the second level. And now you'll just want to repeat what you did on the first level for the rest of the 6 spawning platforms. I find it helps to have a small checklist just so you don't forget anything. Trapdoors on the ceiling, carpets on the floor, block in the middle, and trapdoors around the edge so the creepers can run off. Once you finish off spawning platform 6, block jump onto the top, and we can begin work on the shading roof. From the direct center of the farm, you're going to want to count 12 blocks in each direction. Now, on each 12th block, cap it off so that it's 7 wide. And then, go ahead and connect them all diagonally, and then fill them in. And to prevent mobs from spawning, place 4 torches 5 blocks away from each one of the edges. For Java players, make a pillar above the center of the farm with a ladder to Y level 192. As that will be your AFK spot for when the farm is ready. By being at that location, you will only be loading in the farm, massively increasing the efficiency. And for Bedrock players, you'll just AFK at your chest room. If you're having difficulty getting the 6 cats required for the 6 layers, then I'd recommend going to a village and trying to tame their stray cat. However, you could also, if you've built my iron farm, link in the top right, tame stray cats there, as there is a large surplus of stray cats that spawn around those villagers. Now, let's tackle getting the cats into their respective locations. Bring them to the base of the farm so that once you're at the top, they teleport up to you. But while we're down here, there's no risk of us falling into the drop chute anymore, so let's go ahead and add in these campfires. Now let's go ahead and make our way all the way to the top. By the time I'm there, the cats are usually far enough away to want to teleport to me, and then I just have them sit down and I push them in one by one, starting from the bottom and working my way up to the top. And cats don't take any fall damage, so I just make a hole straight through the center all the way down to the bottom platform and push them in. Well, that was a close one. I went down too many levels. Whoops. You know they're in the right spot when you can't push them from any sides of this block. And due to the design of this, even if some spiders manage to somehow get onto one of these platforms, they're actually too tall to fit in between these trapdoors in the block. This part can be frustrating, but after a couple, you will be a cat master. Oh, there's a white cat. Hello, perfect timing. The teleporting thing is actually so good. Make sure to break out these torches as well, otherwise the farm will obviously not work. And ensure you break out any temporary blocks you use to get your cats in place, as mobs could potentially spawn on them and hurt the rates of your farm quite significantly. Tip number 1. Climbing up and down this ladder can be very annoying. So, if you're going to go up and down a lot, I suggest building a water elevator so that you don't spend ages climbing all the time. Tip number 2. If you don't feel like building a water elevator, but you still don't like climbing up and down, you can actually make 2 nether portals, one here at the bottom of the farm and one at the top. And if you align them properly, by dividing the X and the Z coordinates for the overworld portal and divide that by 8, if you rebuild the portal in the nether on the same coordinates you calculated, your portals will be accurately aligned and they'll be able to transport you very tall Y differences in just a matter of seconds. Tip number 3 is to build a trident killer. This only works for bedrock, but it can increase the amount of gunpowder you get and it also will give you XP for the farm. So I'm going to show you how to build it. It's just 4 pistons at these locations facing inward. And then you need observers facing the opposite direction from the piston so that the redstone powering is headed into the piston. And then after you have those 4 down, we just need redstone torches on the side of each piston. so that the observer can see them. Now the pistons should be activating in a circular motion. Add a lever here for an on-off switch so that you don't need to have it on all the time. Throw in a trident, and now when you hold out a looting 3 sword, the looting 3 will be applied to the trident as well. So if this is running and killing mobs, you will be getting looting 3 on all of their drops. And for the actual collection of items, you can have it running directly on some hoppers like that, running into some chests. Anyways, let's take a look at a test here and see how much gunpowder we got from 1 hour of AFKing. If you found this video helpful at all, it would be awesome if you gave it a like or a comment. If you want to watch more of my content, a subscription would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.